that feeling.
About 9 kilometres into the walk. Might get the Q&A started. I've printed them out. This one's from Brian Enright, 9020. Rob, when you adventured to the motherland, did you see or get in touch with any long lost relatives and people with your namesake that you may have found on your journeys? Not the last trip, no. The trip before I did, the most recent one, when I was there, the only family members I reconnected with were dead ones because I saw their gravestones in a couple of cemeteries. Ivar Collinson, 5965. What was it prompted you that led you to a YouTube channel that we are currently strolling through? What led me to this YouTube channel? I guess you may have answered this before. I don't think I have. I got started doing YouTube videos, this channel, because I was going overseas for an indefinite period of time. Before heading over there, I wanted to start making some local content, just walks and what have you. There was real no vision for the channel. Something happened though when I was in the UK. I made a video about the city of Nottingham. And I didn't want to just do a regular video where you walk around, you look at this, you look at that. Oh, isn't that nice? I wanted to understand the history of Nottingham because it is such an old place. And Sherwood Forest is not too far away. But I've read that parts of Sherwood Forest, they think, date back to the end of the Ice Age, when the trees were recolonising the land after the ice and snow and glaciers had melted. Certainly something to think about. So I researched the history of Nottingham and visited the places that I read about while I was there. And I thought this is a really interesting way to understand and learn about the town by studying its history, rather than just being a tourist. And that's what I did. And someone commented on that video, I don't know who it was, they said something to the effect of, I like this new format. I thought that's really interesting because someone's enjoying what I'm making, and I enjoyed making it because I learned so much more about Nottingham and had such an appreciation for it. So when I got back to Australia, I just kept carrying on with that kind of format, going to a place, a town or a city or a suburb, and exploring its history. And that's where I am now. It's what I'm doing these days. It feels really competitive, this walk. It's a charity walk, it's not a race. But I keep getting this feeling that if I slow down even for a moment, everyone's going to go past me and I'm going to be right at the back of the queue, which I don't want because I was right at the front of the queue to start. People have jogged through and they're probably halfway to the city right now. So what is this? It's the lost original manuscript for T.E. Lawrence's The Seven Pillars of Wisdom, lost on British Rail. Oh, wait a minute, it's only a Lee Child book. Time for another question. What do we got? This one is from Jess's Mythology 784. Would you consider doing a series of videos covering the explorers' paths in early Queensland? Follow as best the journeys of exploration in our region. Sounds fantastic. That would be an enormous undertaking. I'd have to go out into the outback where it's hot and there's snakes. So that would really just be trying to find really the time and money to do something of that huge undertaking. That would need, vehicles and support and equipment, and terrific idea though. Alright, next question. This one's from Ear Juice. What is your favourite suburb besides Orchid Flower? I don't really have a favourite suburb. I do tend to like suburbs that are in a city, things like Spring Hill and Kangaroo Point, West End. Anywhere where there are little narrow streets and little interesting nooks and crannies and old houses and more densely settled areas rather than areas that are just spread out and wide and vast and, like the outer suburbs. When you get to the inner city, they weren't made for cars, it was made for foot traffic and maybe horse and carriage. So it's the inner city ones that I find particularly interesting. I can't vouch for Auchenflower. I've never really been there, I don't think. Is there, now what was the other part of your question here, Juice? Are there history books for other suburbs that you know of? There's probably a history book for every suburb, whether it's been actually published or just an in-house published book by a local history group. There's local history groups all over the place, and they cover, I would say, just about everywhere. There is probably a history book for your suburb. Best thing to do is just contact your local history group and ask them what they've got.
Hello!
That's Toombul Shopping Centre behind me, or what remains of it. Wow. All being pulled down. That means I'm now entering Clayfield, where Gildor was king. That's the Aviation High School. I didn't know there was such a thing. I can see their motto. It says, aim high. Where am I? Letham Street and Manson Road. Alright. Watch out for traffic. Next question. This is up, style, down. Have you looked into getting a Patreon account? No, I haven't. I'm finding that the Buy Me a Coffee account thing suits my needs at the moment. Rather than having two accounts, I don't know, it just doesn't really seem necessary. One's fine. I think there's more fees on the Patreon website anyway. They take more of the money that's gifted, so I'll stay with Buy Me a Coffee for now. No one's given me $25,000 yet. Not gonna lie, my feet are getting sore now, especially my left foot. Still on Kitchener Road, coming up to Lancaster Road. Never been here before, don't know anything about this area. Nice houses along here, look at that thing. Beautiful selection of dead trees. Henke Baston Brinkle 7441. I haven't got my glasses on, not my reading glasses, these are just my cool glasses. Would you consider doing a video about the Mount Tarampa Airport and Speedway racetrack? I have read about that. I was going to cover it a year or so ago, but something happened. I didn't go over there. It would be part of a bigger story. I wouldn't just do the old, airport. But maybe, quite possibly. I'd like to explore that area a lot more. Just ahead of me is the Brisbane River. Site for sore eyes and sore feet. This is Kingsford Smith Drive here. If anyone's interested, I did a video about Kingsford Smith Drive probably about 3 years ago now. It was a while ago. I think I called it the road built by sex. I couldn't think of anything else to call it, but it's kind of an accurate title for the video. Anyway, check it out if you want. Question. This is from Maca 1969. What would be the funniest thing that has happened to you while filming? The honest answer is nothing. Melinda Dubois 2258. Do you have another job other than YouTube? I run my own business. It's a film production company, and the company was set up to handle the movie that I directed. So with the company, I make corporate videos, little promos, companies they want to advertise on YouTube or TikTok or Facebook, what have you. So I go in and talk to the client and come up with a advertising campaign proposal, and I shoot it and edit it, and that's where I make money, plus this channel, which also generates a bit of an income.
Well done, yeah! Well done, yeah! Well done!
Next question. This is from Perspectivity. Would you consider going walkabout with Indigenous traditional owners of an area and share your learnings with us? I have tried to do that, to be honest. It was a video I had in mind a while ago, which was going to be to explore the Brisbane River, and I was going to let them lead the video. I'd be along to learn. And I tried to get in contact with them. It was a local Indigenous tribe, clan, mob here in Brisbane, and multiple emails and phone calls and messages. I never heard a peep out of them. Unfortunately, I really would have liked to have done that one. History Hunter Dan Under. Hi Rob, what is your biggest source for your information that you use within your video? Absolutely, the State Library of Queensland and the Queensland State Archives are terrific places to go to. Online searches, but also tracking down local history groups and finding out what publications they have pertaining to the area that I'm investigating. And they love sharing their information with you, and they've usually got their own little books and pamphlets that they've written. So the next question comes from Rory Funk Dub. What piece of history surprised or amused you the most when doing your research? I reckon the most amusing piece of history I've ever come across, and I learnt this a long time ago, was the story of the Castaways. They were sent to cut cedar south of Sydney. They got blown off course, went out to the Tasman Sea, got washed up on Moreton Island, hopped to the mainland, found the Brisbane River. They were then rescued by Oxley and taken to Sydney. Now these guys, bar one, were all ex-convicts. Anyway, Oxley did his charts and it was decided to establish the Moreton Bay Penal Settlement on the Brisbane River. All good. A few years later, one of those castaways who found the Brisbane River committed a crime in Sydney and was sent as a convict to the Moreton Bay Penal Settlement. He had found his future prison. And that's an incredible piece of irony, and it certainly proves truth is stranger than fiction. This is Drone Kings in Darwin. When are we going to see Lunch with Rob channel starting? I should have started it years ago. I probably would have 100,000 subscribers by now with all the historic pubs and hotels that I've gone to. I should have done food reviews. I just love going out to eat. Mainly because I can't cook. Next question. This one is from Iceberg 5899. It's a two-part question. I'll start with the first one. It's how do you go about conducting your research? Do you find a fun piece of history or trivia and then chase that suburb area, or do you pick a suburb and say, today I'm researching here? The way I work it is I pretty much just start on Google Earth and I scroll around southeast Queensland trying to find something that might be of interest. I remember when I was having a look around the eastern suburbs of Brisbane, scrolling around, and I saw this big area of green. It wasn't too far from the Gateway motorway, and it was this little bit of countryside right in the middle of all this development and industry and suburbia. And I thought, what's going on there? I kind of knew what the area was. It was the Hemmant area, and then sure enough, the old part of Hemmant was right there, surrounded by still this little bit of rural landscape. And the first thing that entered my mind was, that's Brisbane's last country town. Straight away I thought, yep, that's it. I've got to make that video because I've got the title already. So sometimes I will find a place to visit just by looking around Google Earth and finding something that I think is interesting. Other times it may be a suggestion by someone. They'll say, Rob, why don't you look at this place or that place? And maybe I'm reading a book and there's a little bit of historical trivia, a bit of a tidbit that it's kind of like an itch I have to scratch. Oh, I've got to find out about that because I want to tell everyone about it. I want to share that information. And the second part of that question was, is there a piece or video, maybe a place or video you've wanted to do and had set aside because it was too difficult or you couldn't find enough info? Muttaburra. For a long time I've wanted to go out there and explore that town. Not that it's a big place at all, certainly, but it is a centre of a lot of dinosaur finds. And also it's as close as you can get, I think, the closest town to the geographic centre of Queensland. And I've never seen the outback. I've always wanted to see Muttaburra, and we were looking into it, going there, and you know, the quotes we were getting from the travel agent to go there were just enormous. It was like, really, it's, what is it, $1,500, $2,000 just to go to Muttaburra? I know it's a long way away, but for heaven's sake, it just seemed excessive, that's all. So I've put that aside until I can figure out a more cost-effective way to go out there. Got a fashion question now. This one's from Scott Andrew 3483. You always seem to wear long sleeves and full-length trousers even in high heat. Chermside video. What is the reasoning for your attire? What shoes are your preference? P.S. Leave the hat. Let's start with a hat. No, I'm not going to leave the hat. To wear a hat outside for any length of time in this country is very sensible. For example, today's walk, I've been walking about 4.5 hours in bright sunshine. And a hat is very necessary. Besides, it looks good on me. What shoes are my preference? Well, I can tell you right now, not the ones I'm wearing. So as to why do I wear long sleeve clothing, it's basically the same reason as why I wear a hat. Sun protection. I am outdoors quite a lot and I feel better knowing that I've got long sleeve clothing even on a very hot day. It's what I would rather sweat a lot than get sunburnt. So that's why I wear long sleeve clothing. That's all it is. And the last question is from Danny Donald 7081. Tell us about your early acting, what you loved about it, and your favourite productions. Do you still do any acting? I did a lot of theatre. I started at Sunnybank Repertory Company, then went on to Brisbane Arts Theatre, and did some other little productions here and there for other places. And from there I started getting some TV commercial work, and really loved doing those because it was usually only for a day and the pay was very good. Then I started getting extra work in movies, and I was a featured extra in Inspector Gadget 2. So if you watch that film, you can clearly see me. And I was in The Great Raid, and I've forgotten the other movies I was in. But anyway, a lot of theatre, and loved it, loved acting, would like to do it again, and I do miss it.
Can't stop, let's try it again.
Oh, feet are killing me. God, absolutely horrendous. I've had such terrible pain.
Okay, mate, love your channel.
Oh, thank you very much.
Are you in the middle of filming videos?
Yeah, I've just done a charity walk from Sandgate.
Oh, no, I recognise you. I hope to see you around. I'll say good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, that'll put a spring in my step. I can't find any springs. Just crossed over the river to Gardens Point. It's the university, and this way. Can't be too much further now. Hungry. I've had some snacks on the way, just slow release protein things, and they don't taste too good, but they do the trick. Let's thank you.
Robert, $600. Well done.
Oh.
Well done, good job.
The walk is done. 35k, Sandgate to Brisbane City, Botanical Gardens. Feet are absolutely killing me. I would very much like to thank the following contributors to this epic bloody long walk for their financial donations. It really was very, very generous, and thank you all. We got Andrew Ainsworth, Suzanne Ainsworth, Anita Ryan, Anonymous, Gab B, Tony Babick, Chris Carroll, Doug Crew, Christopher Doolan, hey Chris, Mark Hooper, William Kyle, Jamie Jones, Amy Mulholland, Shelley Reid, Matt Richards, and Sharon Woodyard. Thank you very much, everyone, for sponsoring this walk. I'm in agony, absolutely starving, so I'm going to go and get a late lunch. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And I will see you again, well, maybe in the emergency ward.